Welcome to this morning's broadcast of Macbeth, brought to you by our sponsor, the Coven's Caravan. We come to the action in the middle of Scotland at night time. Three strange figures gather around a fire, speaking low.
When shall we three meet again, in thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won.
That will be ere the set of sun.
Where the place?
Upon the heath.
There to meet with Macbeth.
Fair is foul.
And foul is fair.
Hover through the fog and filthy air.
We hear the sound of drums and the shouts of men.
Have at thee!
Ah, no, give it to her! And the singing of swords. A battle wages around us. We meet Duncan, the current King of Scotland, and Lennox, one of his lords. Duncan and Lennox get a report of the battle from a passing sergeant. Duncan speaks.
What bloody man is that he can report, as seemeth by his plight, of the revolt?
Hail, brave friend, say to the king the knowledge of the broil, as thou didst leave it.
Doubtful it stood. The merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel, from the western isles, of kerns and gallow glasses is supplied, and fortune, on his damned quarrel smiling, showed like a rebel's whore. But all's too weak, for brave Macbeth, well he deserves that name, disdaining fortune with his brandished steel, carved out his passage till he faced the slave, which ne'er shook hands nor bade farewell to him, till he unseamed him from nave to the shafts, and fixed his head upon our battlements.
O valiant cousin, worthy gentleman!
But I am faint, my gashes cry for help. Pray, my lord, excuse me.
So well thy words become thee as thy wounds, they smack of honor both. On to the surgeons.
From Fife, great king, Norway himself, with terrible numbers, assisted by that most disloyal traitor, the Thane of Cawdor, began a dismissal conflict, till that Bellona's briding groom laughed in proof, confronted him with self-comparisons, point against rebellious, and to conclude, the victory fell on us.
Great happiness! No more that Thane of Cawdor shall deceive our bosom interest. Lennox, go pronounce his present death, and with his formal title greet Macbeth.
We finally meet our title character, Macbeth. He and his friend Banquo talk. They are fresh from victory on the battlefield and on the way to pay respects to the king, Duncan. Suddenly, the three strange figures from before appear. Banquo speaks as they approach.
Are these so withered and wild in their attire, that look not like the inhabitants of the earth? You should be women, and yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so.
Speak, if you can. What are you?
All hail Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis! All hail Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor! All hail Macbeth! Thou shalt be king hereafter!
Good sir, why do you start, and seek to fear things that sound so fair? My noble partner you greet with present grace and great prediction of noble having and of royal hope, that he seems wrapped withal. To me you speak not. If you can look into the seeds of time, and say which grain will grow, and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate.
Hail Banquo, lesser than Macbeth, and greater, not so happy, yet much happier. Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Whither are they vanished?
Into the air.
Were such things here as we do speak about, or have we eaten on the insane root that takes the reason prisoner?
Your children shall be kings.
You shall be king.
And Thane of Cawdor too. Went it not so?
To the self-same tune and words. Who's here?
The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success. I have been sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, and for an earnest of great honor, he bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor. Hail, most worthy Thane!
What, can the devil speak true?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes?
Who was the Thane lives yet, but treason's capital confessed and proved have overthrown him.
Glams and Thane of Cawdor. Do you not hope your children shall be kings, when those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them?
'Tis strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truth, win us with honest trifles, to betrays in deepest consequence.
If chance will have me king, why, chance may crown me, without my stir. Let us toward the king.
Very gladly.
We join the king inside the palace. Assembled are all the lords called Thanes who helped beat back the rebel army. Duncan, the king of the Scots, has an important announcement to make. Duncan speaks to Banquo and Macbeth.
His execution done on Cawdor.
My liege, he confessed his treasons, implored your highness pardon, and set forth a deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him like believing it.
O worthiest cousin, the sin of my ingratitude even now is heavy on me. More is thy due than more than all can pay.
The service and the loyalty I owe, in doing it, pays itself.
Noble Banquo, that hast no less deserved nor must be known, no less to have done so. Let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart.
Thereof I grow, the harvest is your own.
Sons, kinsmen, thanes, and you whose places are the nearest, know we will establish our estate upon our eldest, Malcolm, whom we name hereafter the Prince of Cumberland.
The Prince of Cumberland. That is a step on which I must fall down or else sore leap, for in my way it lies. Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires.
Here we meet the Lady Macbeth. Since Macbeth left to support the king, she has been waiting for news of the battle. We join her as she reads a letter from Macbeth. In the letter, he tells of the weird sister's prophecies, one of which has already come true. Macbeth is Thane of Cawdor. A messenger then arrives with news.
My lady, the king comes here tonight.
Thou art mad to say it.
So please you, it is true, our Thane is coming. One of my foes had the speed of him, who almost dead for breath, had scarcely more than would make up his message.
Leave him tending, you may go. The raven himself is hoarse, that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Oh, here comes my husband. Great Glams, worthy Cawdor, we're driven both by the all-hail hereafter. My letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant.
My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight.
And when goes hence?
Tomorrow, as he purposes.
Oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Leave all the rest to me. Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time, or welcome in your eye. Your hand and your tongue look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. He that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch.
Duncan, the king, has arrived at the home of Lord and Lady Macbeth. While the whole castle is at the dinner, Macbeth, alone, thinks over his wife's murderous plan and wonders where his loyalty should be, to her or to the king. He speaks.
He's here in double trust. First, I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed, then as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued, against the deep damnation of his taking off. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other. How now? What news?
He has almost supped. Why have you left the chamber?
asked for me?
Know you not he has?
We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon.
Wherein you dressed yourself? Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valor, as thou art in desire?
Prithee, peace. I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none.
Whose was it, then, that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man. I have given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums, and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this.
If we should fail?
We fail, but screw your courage to the sticking place, and will not fail. While Duncan is asleep, his 2 chamberlains will I with wine and with sail so convince that memory shall be a fume. When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lie as in a death. What cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan?
Will it not be received, when we have marked with blood those sleepy 2 of his own chamber, and used their very daggers, that they had done it?
Who dares receive it other, as we shall make our griefs and clamour roar upon his death?
Away, and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide what false heart doth know.
And now, a quick word from our sponsor.
Tired of that one messenger arriving so out of breath that they can't send the message? Or feel like messengers must be mad for the unbelievable news they keep telling you? Get a Coven's Caravan messenger bird with a 100% chance of a 65% chance success rate. They'll do the job better than any human, unless they fly away. Your raven can come home in any color you desire, as long as it's black. Shipping is free, as the raven will fly straight to your manor. Call to buy your messenger bird today for only 3 easy payments of $39.99 plus training, handling, and other fees.
At banquet where Duncan and his men were served wine and spirits by Lady Macbeth, to be sure they would sleep deeply. Late in the night, the Macbeths enact the plan, stab Duncan to death, and make it look like his personal guard killed him. Lady Macbeth waits for Macbeth to return to their chamber.
Black, I am afraid they have awaked, and 'tis not done. Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I had done it. My husband.
I have done the deed. Didst thou not hear a noise?
I heard the owl scream and the crickets cry.
There's one did laugh in sleep, and one cried, murderer, that they did wake each other, and I stood and heard them. One cried, God bless us, and amen the other. As they had seen me with these hangmen's hands, listening their fear, I could not say amen when they did say, God bless us.
Consider it not so deeply.
But wherefore could I not pronounce amen?
These deeds must not be thought after these ways, so it will make us mad. Go get some water and wash the filthy witness from your hand. Why did you bring these daggers from the place? They must lie there. Go carry them, and smear the sleepy grooms with blood.
I'll go no more. I'm afraid to think what I've done. Look on't again, I dare not.
Form of purpose. Give me the daggers. The sleeping and the dead are but as pictures. 'Tis the eye of childhood that fears a painted devil. If you do bleed, I'll gild the faces of the grooms withal, for it must seem their guilt.
Whence is that knocking? How is't with me when every noise appalls me?
I hear a knocking. At the south entry retire we to our chamber. A little water clears us of this deed. How easy is it, then?
Wake Duncan with thy knocking, I wist thou couldst.
We come to the exterior gate of Macbeth's castle. There sits a porter who drinks and sits and jokes and occasionally operates the gate. He speaks.
Here's a knocking indeed. If a man were porter of Hellgate, he should have old turning the key. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? In the name of Beelzebub. Knock, knock. Who's there? In the other devil's name. Knock, knock. Never at quiet. What are you? Anon, anon. Why, my Lord Lennox, Lord Macduff. Remember the porter.
Was it so late, friend, ere you went to bed, that you do lie so late?
Faith, sir, we were carousing till the second cock, and drink, sir, is a provoker of 3 things.
What 3 things does drink especially provoke?
Marry, sir, nose painting, sleep, and urine. Lechery, sir, it provokes and unprovokes. It makes him and it mars him. It sets him on and it takes him off. It persuades him and disheartens him. Makes him stand to and not to stand to. In conclusion, advocates him in his sleep, and giving him the lie, leaves him.
I believe drink gave thee the lie last night. Is thy master stirring? Our knocking has awakened him. Here he comes.
Good morrow, noble sir.
Good morrow, both.
Is the king stirring, worthy Thane?
Not yet.
He did command me to call timely on him. I have almost slipped the hour.
I'll bring you to him.
I'll make so bold to call, for 'tis my limited service.
It has been unruly where we lay. Our chimneys were blown down, and, as they say, lamentings heard in the air, strange screams of death, clamored the livelong night. Some say the earth was feverish and did shake.
'Twas a rough night.
Oh, horror, horror, horror! Tongue nor heart cannot conceive nor name thee.
What's the matter?
Most sacrilegious murder.
What is't you say?
Mean you his majesty?
Approach the chamber and destroy your sight. See, and then speak yourselves.
Had I but died an hour before this chance, I had lived a blessed time, for from this instant there's nothing serious in mortality. All but toys, renown and grace is dead.
What is amiss?
Your royal father's murdered.
By whom?
Those of his chamber, as it seemed, had done it. Their hands and faces were all badged with blood, so were their daggers.
Oh, yet I do repent me of my fury, that I did kill them.
Wherefore did you so?
Who can be wise, amazed, temperate and furious, loyal and neutral in a moment? Who can refrain, that had love, heart to love, and in that heart courage to makes love known?
Let us meet and question this most bloody piece of work to know it further.
Let's briefly put on manly readiness and meet in the hall together.
There's daggers in men's smiles.
After Duncan was discovered and murdered, and the men of his chamber blamed for it, feeling somehow uneasy, Macduff and Lennox talk about the terrible murder. We hear Lennox first.
Is it known who did this more than bloody deed?
Those that Macbeth hath slain.
Alas, the day! What good could they pretend?
They were suborned. Malcolm, the king's son, is stolen away and fled, which puts upon them suspicion of the deed.
Against nature still, worthless ambition that wilt raven up thine own life's means. Then 'tis most like the sovereignty will fall upon Macbeth.
He is already named and gone to Scun to be invested.
Will you to Scun?
No, cousin, I'll to Fife.
Well, I will thither.
Well, may you see things well done there. Adieu, lest our old robes sit easier than our new.
Just as the weird sisters foresaw, Macbeth is now king. Lord and Lady Macbeth have come to the palace of the king to make their home. Wondering what the future will be, and suspicious of the recent past, Banquo speaks.
Thou hast it now, king, cotter, gloms, all, as the weird woman promised, and I fear thou playedst most foully for it. Yet it was said, not stand in thy posterity, but that myself should be the root and father of many kings. If there come truth to them, but hush, no more.
Here's our chief guest. Tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir, and I'll request your presence.
Let your highness command upon me, to the which my duties are with a most indissoluble tie, forever knit.
Ride you this afternoon?
Aye, my good lord.
Is't far you ride?
As far, my lord, as will fill up the time twixt this and supper.
Fail not our feast.
My lord, I will not.
We hear our bloody cousin is bestowed in England or in Ireland, not confessing his cruel parricide, filling his hearers with strange invention. But of that tomorrow. Goes Fleance with you?
Aye, my good lord.
I wish your horses swift and sure of foot. Farewell. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Our fears in Banquo stick deep. He chid the sisters when first they put the name of king upon me, and bade them speak to him. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him father to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown, no son of mine succeeding. If it be so, for Banquo's issue have I filed my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan, have I murdered, to make them kings, the seed of Banquo kings. Who's there? Come now, my fellow. Have you considered my speeches? Do you now know Banquo was your enemy?
True, my lord.
So is he mine. And though I could, with barefaced power, sweep him from my sight, and bid my will avouch it, yet I must not. For certain friends that are both his and mine, whose loves I may not drop, and thence it is that I to your assistance do make love, masking the business from the common eye, for sundry weighty reasons.
I shall, my lord, perform what you command me.
Within this hour at most, I will advise you where to plant yourself, acquaint you with the perfect spy of the time, for the moment on't, for it must be done tonight. Fleance, his son, that keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than his father's, must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourself apart. I'll come to you anon. It is concluded. Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it find heaven, must find it out tonight.
How now, my lord? Why do you keep alone of sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died? With them they think on, what's done is done.
We have scotched the snake, not killed it.
Gentle, my lord, sleek o'er your rugged looks, be bright and jovial among your guests tonight.
So shall I, love, and I pray, so be you.
The murderer follows Banquo and his son, Fleance, on their ride. Choosing just the right moment, he surprises and kills Banquo. However, Fleance is able to flee to safety in the struggle. The murderer returns to the palace and gives his report to Macbeth. Overall, pleased with their report, Macbeth and his wife sit down to dinner with the court. However, something is wrong. As the Macbeths sit down to dinner to entertain the court, the ghost of Banquo descends upon the hall, speaking in a voice only Macbeth seems to hear. Lady Macbeth notices something is not right with her husband. She speaks.
My royal lord, do not give the cheer. Murderer.
Here, my good lord, what is it that moves your highness?
Which of you have spoke such?
What, my lord? What, my good lord?
Gentlemen, rise. His highness is not well.
Sit, worthy friends. Pray you, keep seat. The fit is momentary. Upon a thought he will be well again. Feed and regard him not. Are you a man?
Aye, and a bold one, that dare speak on that which might appall the devil.
Why do you make such faces? No one speaks out of turn. Macbeth.
Prithee, just now, listen here, lo, as I stand here, I heard him.
Fie, for shame. Macbeth.
You make me strange, even to the disposition that I owe, when now I think you can endure such speech, and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks, when mine is blanched with fear.
What speech, my lord?
I pray you, speak not. He grows worse and worse. Stand not upon the order of your going, but go at once.
We go. Good night and better health attend his majesty.
I am in blood, stepped in so far that I should wade no more. Returning were as tedious as go or air.
Black the season of all natures. Sleep.
Come, will to sleep. We're yet but young indeed.
After the banquet, away from the ears of either Macbeth, suspicion and mistrust is brewing among the lords of Scotland. Yet the thanes must be cautious. They can't openly oppose King Macbeth's rule without risk. Lennox speaks.
Doth lives in disgrace. Sir, can you tell me where he bestows himself?
The son of Duncan, from whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court. Thither Macduff is gone to pray the holy king upon his aid to wake Northumberland and warlike ward, that by the help of these with him above to ratify the work, we may again give to our tables meat, sleep to our nights, free from our feasts and banquets, bloody knives, all which we pine for now. And this report hath so exasperate the king that he prepares for some attempt of war.
Beats Macduff?
He did, and with the absolute Sir Nut eye, the cloudy messenger turns me his back.
That well might advise him to a caution, to hold what distance his wisdom can provide.
And now, another word from our sponsor.
Don't you hate it when you hire an assassin to murder your best friend in order to keep your power, and then your friend's ghost won't stop embarrassing you when you're trying to impress your noble peers? Hire the Spectre Slayers to capture them and make sure they never ruin your dinner plans again. Those spooks will never again mar the natural beauty of your... Those spooks will never again mar the natural ruby of your cheeks. When there's something unusual in your domain, who will you send a raven to? Spectre Slayers. And if you send a Coven's Caravan messenger bird right now, you can get a free Spectre Inspector to help with the ghosts you think are there, but you can't seem to locate with your mortal eyes.
Our three weird sisters have gathered to brew a potion. Call forth a powerful fourth witch in Hecate, all to answer Macbeth's unanswered question about his future as the King of Scotland. We join them, brewing the potion, which allows them to see that which is to come.
Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake.
Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog.
Adder's fork and blindworm's sting, wizard's leg and owlet's wing.
Double, double, toil and trouble.
Fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Come, sister leader, gifted seer, Hecate to our world appear.
Oh, well done! I commend your pains, and everyone shall share in the gains. And now about the cauldron sing, live elves and fairies in a ring, enchanting all that you put in. By the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes.
How now, you secret black and midnight hag, what is't you do?
A deed without a name.
I conjure you by that which you profess, howe'er you come to know it, answer me.
Say, if thou'dst rather hear it from our mouths or from our masters.
Call them, let me see.
Pour in sow's blood that hath eaten, her 9 farrow, grease that sweeten, from the murderer's gibbet throw, into the flame come high or low, thyself and office deftly show.
Macbeth, beware Macduff, beware the Thane of Fife. Dismiss me, enough.
Whate'er thou art, for thy good caution thanks. Thou hast sharped my fear aright, but one word more.
He will not be commanded. Here's another more potent than the first.
Macbeth, be bloody, bold, and resolute. Laugh to scorn the power of men, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth.
Then live, Macduff. What need I fear of thee? What is this that rises like the issue of a king?
Macbeth shall never vanquished be until great Birnam Wood to high Dunsinane Hill shall come against him.
That will never be. Who can impress the forest? Bid the tree unfix his earthbound root. Sweet bottomance, good. Yet tell me, shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom?
Seek to know no more.
I will be satisfied. Deny me this, and an eternal curse will fall on you.
Show his eyes and grieve his heart. Come like shadows, so depart.
Thou art too like the spirits of Banquo. Horrible sight! Now I see 'tis true. For the blood-boltered Banquo smiles upon me, and points at them for his. What, is this so?
Aye, sir, all this is so. But why stands Macbeth thus amazedly? Macduff is fled to England.
Fled to England? Time thou anticipatest my dread exploits. The castle of Macduff I will surprise. Seize upon Fife, give to the edge of the sword his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line.
Lady Macbeth is not as unaffected as she seems. Even as she tried to soothe Macbeth at the banquet, she's not been well herself. She keeps seeing Duncan's blood on her hands. We join her on a sleepwalk. Alone she speaks.
Out, damned spot, out, I say. 1, 2, why then, 'tis time to do it. Who would have thought the old man had had so much blood in him? The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? What, will these hands never be clean? There's the smell of the blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh, oh, oh! Wash your hands, put on your nightgown, look not so pale. Give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed, to bed, to bed.
Macduff has fled Scotland to England looking for Duncan's heir. Here, the two of them meet. Macduff is trying to persuade Malcolm to take his rightful place. Macduff speaks first.
Let us hold fast the mortal sword, and like good men bestride our downfall and birthdom. Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face.
This tyrant whose sole name blisters our tongue was once thought honest. You have loved him well. He hath not touched you yet.
I am not treacherous.
But Macbeth is. A good and virtuous nature may recoil in an imperial charge.
Fare thee well, Lord. I would not be the villain that thou thinkest for the whole space that's in the tyrant's grasp.
Be not offended. I think our country sits beneath the yoke. When I shall tread upon the tyrant's head, or wear it on my sword, yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before. By him that shall succeed.
What should he be?
It is myself, I mean, in whom I know all the particulars of vice so grafted, that when they shall be opened, cursed Macbeth will seem as pure as snow.
Not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned in evils to top Macbeth.
With this there grows in my most ill-composed affection such a stanchless avarice that, were I king, I should cut off the nobles for their lands, destroying them for wealth. If such a one be fit to govern, speak. I am as I have spoken.
Fit to govern? No, not to live. Fare thee well. These evils thou repeatest upon thyself have banished me from Scotland. O my breast, thy hope ends here.
Macduff, this noble passion, child of integrity, hath from my soul wiped the black scruples. For even now I put myself to thy direction, and unspeak mine own detraction. I am yet unknown to woman, never was forsworn, scarcely have coveted what was mine own. At no time broke my faith. What I am truly is thine, and my poor country is to command. Old Seward, with 10,000 warlike men, already at a point, was setting forth. Now we're together. Why are you silent?
Such welcome and unwelcome things at once, just hard to reconcile. See, who comes here?
My countrymen, good God, the times remove the means that make us strangers.
Stand Scotland where it did?
Alas, poor country, almost afraid to know itself. It cannot be called to our mother, but to our grave.
Be it their comfort, we are coming thither. Gracious England has lent us old Seward and 10,000 men, an older and better soldier none than Christendom gives out.
Would I could answer this comfort with the like, but I have words that would be howled out in desert air, where hearing should not latch them.
What concern they?
No mine, that's honest, but in it shares some woe, though the main part pertains you alone.
If it be not mine, keep it not from me. Quickly, let me have it.
Your castle is surprised, your wife and babes savagely slaughtered.
My children too?
Wife, children, servants, all that could be found.
All my pretty ones? Said you all?
Dispute it like a man.
I shall do so, gentle heavens. Bring thou this fiend of Scotland and myself within my sword's length set him.
And now, another word from our sponsor.
When you commit regicide and just can't seem to get that blood off, try Sans Sagwin Suds by Coven's Caravan. Those hands will be clean when you use Sans Sagwin. That old man sure did have a lot of blood in him, but Sans Sagwin Suds can get it all off. A smell stronger than all the perfumes of Arabia will sweeten these hands with Sans Sagwin Suds. Sans Sagwin Suds available today at your local Coven's Caravan.
We return from England to Scotland. Rumours and whispers abound. Macduff and the old king's son Malcolm have plenty of troops and are coming back to Scotland. Macduff for revenge and Malcolm to take his rightful place on his father's throne.
Bring me no more reports. Let them all fly, till Birnam Wood removed to Dunsinane. I cannot taint with fear. Give me my armor.
'Tis not needed yet.
I'll put it on. Send out more horses. Scour the country round. Hang those that talk of fear. Give me mine arm, Dunsinane. Our castle's strength will laugh a siege to
It is the cry of women, my good lord. I will go see what the matter is.
noise. The time has been, my senses would have cooled to hear a night shriek, and my fell of hair would at a dismissal tree rouse and stir, as life thoughts cannot once start me. Wherefore was that cry?
The queen, my lord, is dead. I will return to her lady.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in the place for all our fools, the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. You come again, sir. Tell thy story quickly.
As I did stand my watch upon the hill, I looked toward Burnham, and anon methought the wood began to move.
Liar and slave!
Within this 3 mile, you may see it coming.
I begin to doubt the equivocation of the fiend that lies like truth. Fear not till Birnam Wood do come to Dunsinane. And now a wood comes toward Dunsinane. Arm, arm, and out. Ring the alarm bell. Blow wind, come rack. At least we'll die with harness on our back.
Macbeth has geared up for battle and led his troops into the field. What he thought was Birnam Wood coming to Dunsinane by magic turned out to be Macduff and Malcolm's army moving in disguise to get the upper hand. The fight goes on and on until Macduff, in revenge of his murdered family, spots the object of his rage. Macduff calls out,
Macbeth, turn, hellhound, turn.
I bear a charmed life, which must not yield to one of woman born.
Despair thy charm, and let the angel whom thou still hast served tell thee, Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped.
Accursed be the tongue that tell me so. I will not fight with thee.
Then yield thee, coward.
I will not yield. To kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet, and to be bidden, and thou opposed as being of no woman born, yet I will try the last. Lay on, Macduff, and damned be him that first cried.
Hail, Malcolm, true heir to the throne, for so thou art, behold, where stands the usurper's cursed head. The time is free. Hail, King of Scotland!
Hail, hail, King of Scotland!
Hail, King of Scotland!
My thanes and kinsmen, henceforth be earls, the first that ever Scotland in such an honor named. What's more to do, as calling home our exiled friends abroad that fled the snare of watchful tyranny, of this dead butcher and his fiend-like queen, who, as 'tis thought by self and violent hands, took off her life. This and what needful else that calls upon us. By the grace of grace, we will perform in measure, time, and place. So, thanks to all at once, and to each one whom we invite to see us crowned at Scone.
Thank you for tuning into this morning's broadcast of Macbeth. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation of Radio Shakespeare, brought to you by Coven's Caravan. Good afternoon.